Are we ready? First move. Okay, right. Anybody else need a printed agenda? Members, need a printed agenda?
Okay.
Or.
I have to screw custom. Someone taking to the.
Morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order. The 19th CNMI State Board of Education Special Board Meeting. It is Friday, March 13, 2026, and it's 9:07 a.m. Again, thank you all for being here, members, commissioner, and your team. Shoot you all, and to all those online, thank you so much for being a part of our meeting. Ms. Manager, can you tell the roll, please? Anthony Douglas Garcias.
Present.
Andres Blanco. Tony Alborja. Judas Bertels.
Present.
Arvin Mira. Here. Schumer Florida Bukuma Ogudo.
Here.
Andrew L. Orsini.
Here.
Speaks not. Present. 40 members present, there is not. And member Trump is unavailable today due to his work schedules. All right, let's move on to the adoption of agenda. Members.
To adopt.
Madam Chair, if I may, since you mentioned about earlier that we're gonna cut short the meeting, I would like to amend for now the agenda. We will forego number 3, unfinished business for the next meeting, and then we'll go proceed on to number 4, Head Start, early Head Start, and then after that, we'll skip all the way down to number 8, with their board resolutions. At least we could cover that within the given time.
Okay. Would you also like to include the CLO report?
I would.
Okay, all right. So, to clarify, members, your motion is to move number 8 up to number 2 under new business.
Right.
Business move 8 up to number 2,
Yeah.
and then move number 7
To,
to number 3.
right, correct.
Then all other matters can be,
Yeah, discussed at a later date, yes.
Chair, I move we do 1-7. That order. CLO first.
okay. That way, you know, the CLO report.
Yep.
Member Orsini, what do you think? Just to ensure that we get that,
Okay.
acted on. Okay,
Sure.
all right, so the motion is to adopt the agenda. The table unfinished business. And then under new business, to move number 7 to number 2 and number 8 to number 3. Is there a second?
Second.
It's your motion.
What is my motion? Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, it is not. Can somebody make that motion?
I move to adopt the amended agenda as for today, as stated.
Member Ursine, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you, guys. Joking. Andrew Douglas Garcias.
Yes.
Ashmar Florida Bukuma Ogudo.
Yes.
Andrew L. Orsini.
Yes.
Yes. All right, with that, let's move down to new business number 1, which is the Head Start, early Head Start program. We can start with the FY26 budget revision.
For the opportunity. Good morning, Chair and board members. I have Ms. Latanya is going to run us through the budget revision and the retention incentive policy report.
Good morning, everybody. So the Head Start the Head Start program is requesting a 1 million budget rate reallocation. These are funds that have been available due to shortage of staff and vacancies. Of the 1 million, we are asking for 250,000 under fringe benefits for staff retention incentives, For child and family supplies, 200,000. Under other building maintenance and repair, 400,000. For training and staff development, 150,000. For the staff retention incentive, we are requesting to mitigate turnover, boost morale, and recognize additional responsibilities assumed by remaining staff. For supplies, we're looking at equipping our 22 companies across 3 islands with new desktops and printer scanners to ensure compliance and efficient documentations. For facilities, we're funding critical repairs, including playground cell shades, tinted parking improvements, security camera enhancements, restroom renovations, and drainage updates or upgrades. Under professional development, we are looking at contracting off-island experts to train new staff in curriculum implementation, the pyramid model, and behavioral management. That's the $1 million budget reallocation proposal. I can move right into the retention incentive savings and works together, or do you want me to?
Go to the incentive who asked, no, is that a?
Questions about that, so yeah.
So for the retention incentive policy proposal, the program is recommending to create policy to stabilize our workforce by recognizing our staff contributions as well as support wellness through one-time incentives. There is a critical need due to high turnover, which requires experienced staff retention to ensure services continuity and prevent disruptions. The retention incentive proposal mirrors the same retention incentives that the school district gave during the only difference that we have is number one, we added retention incentive to any provisional or temporary staff. In order to be eligible to receive the incentive retention, you must be 100% early Head Start funded, in good standing with no active disciplinary actions, and have completed any required probation. There has to be a service commitment. So we are asking staff to sign a written agreement to remain with Head Start for at least 12 months. For any provisional staff, we are asking them to commit to the full duration of their hired school year. Then there's also repayment clause. So prorated repayment is required if an employee resigns, is terminated for cause, or transfers to a non-Head Start position before the commitment ends. So this is our proposal. It went through legal. It also was vetted through our Head Start regional office. So this is our proposal for the board's approval. I know there's a lot of questions of why, right? In the last 3 years, Head Start has seen an increase in staff resignations that we haven't seen in many years. In 23-24, we had 9 resignations. 24-25, we had 14. 25-26, we had 20. Do you want me to show data?
Well, let's wait and see what questions members have. Members, do you have any questions for the FY 26 budget or the incentive proposal?
I'd like to see the data that's referring to.
I'm able to share some. Or can I shoot you? Sorry, it's gonna be quick.
Just want to know that I skipped over public comments while we're waiting for direction. I need to put up,
Yes.
so we'll go back, after this, after this.
Pretty sure. And it's not so. Sorry. Can I share screen? I just need to sign in.
Yeah, you just need to log into the Zoom, then you can share.
That's better. Sorry for that.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. Pretty sure it happens. See your PSS.
So I don't have it on this.
Sure. Wait for. What is our total resignation? And then reasons for resignation by school year, so 23.
Director, can you back up to the last slide? The previous.
I'll go ahead and break down that data as we.
Thank you.
And in 25, 26, which is this current school year, we're already at 20 mid-year with resignations. The next slide shows the total reasons or the different reasons cited. This year we did have a high number, which is the green, for personal reasons. A lot of our staff either relocated or decided to stay home to care for family or some other health stuff based on the surveys conducted at exit. On the next slide, it shows the total turnover by position. So it also shows that over the last 3 years, we've had a high number of teacher aide vacancies or resignations. Now, we also wanted to see what are different reasons why they might be. So we went ahead and compared on the next slide the difference between a K-12 teacher aide and ECE teacher aide. And a big portion, I mean, we just hired a staff, another staff, and they resigned 2-3 days after they're hired. The ECE teacher aide does a lot of the nurturing and taking care of young kids. We're looking at diaper changing every hour. So if there's 5 kids in the classroom with diapers, they're doing that. They're feeding, they're taking care and kind of redirecting behavior constantly because a lot of these kids are new to the school environment, right? So they're on their feet doing a lot of that different stuff. So in each classroom, we are required to have 2 Head Start staff for every 10 kids with up to 19 kids in each classroom. And I'll kind of show you what our demographics look like in our classrooms today towards the end. On our next slide, we look at the resignations per month. So the reason why our turnover is so high and is impacting our program is we started the year with a high number. And before we even filled those positions, we were hiring staff in about October, November. So as we were hiring, we were losing. In December, we got just one, but we got resignations letters to be effective January after the break. So we opened up the school year 2026 with a lot of resignations. So we move on to the next slide with the next couple.
Say, permanent classroom staff.
Yes, so there's a difference. So if it's 8 and then 7, so 8, for example, in August, we had 8 resignation. One of that was an administrative staff. So what I'm focusing is how many of them are program-wide resignations are actually classroom staff.
Okay.
So you're seeing the number of resignations,
The term permanent, what does that mean?
FTE positions that are funded by our full-time and full. So we've gone to the next slide. This kind of gives you a visual of our classrooms. So you're going to see the next couple of slides is going to show classroom and every month. So if you see any color red, blue, or pink, that means there wasn't a staff in the classroom for some reason. So red is vacancy, blue is long-term leave. We did open up the school year with a lot of our staff going on maternity leave. And then the blue is we were able to replace them. They're brand new to early childhood. So we're going to talk about training or hiring staff that are very new to working with young kids. So this is our Chalankanoa A and Chalankanoa B classroom. We also saw it in Danda. And then we move on GMRC. We move on to the next slide, and this is double session classroom. In our full day, we only saw some changes happening in CKC and GMRA. And we move on to the following full day classroom, the next slide. And it shows Tinian. So Tinian started, and it's one of our really challenging sites, right? We started the school year without a teacher aide. And in December, we lost our only classroom teacher. So Tinian right now is operating with 0 staff that's being subbed by administrative staff.
And that, so when that happens, then we need to pull from the program, from the district.
Yes. So what,
To fill those classroom space, so we have like her and others who are supposed to be under training, those teacher aides that could also eventually give up. You see, so when we're not training them and eventually they give up, it's another loss because we're trying to fill already a loss in TDM, for example. So it's kind of just
like an ongoing
ongoing thing. So what I've worked with Latanya on is you're gonna go into the
what's happening today.
what's happening today, so that it kind of does that training that we need to do for those teacher aides who may possibly give up as well because they have not had the proper training. And for the sake of compliance as well, so we don't get into that again.
So that's-
a risk. Go ahead.
So that's the Head Start classrooms. The next slide also shows our struggle in early Head Start classrooms.
Sorry, Director, could you go back to the last slide? So as an example for Tinian, what is the optimal or expected staffing pattern?
Every classroom should have a classroom teacher and a teacher aide.
What's the total for Tinian, for example?
There's one classroom with 2 teaching staff. So we're serving 19 students there. Right now we're sending subs in.
So we just don't have the teacher.
Right now.
Yeah. Yes.
So
So what we've been doing with Tinian is we've been sending our leadership team to take the teacher role, and then we send an additional person to do the teacher aide. So every week we're commuting 2 stipend staff into Tinian to sub.
You're paying per diem and
Yes, this is stipend because it's the daily commute.
both they go there and come back every day.
Yes, depending on if there's any activities happening in the evening, because we're still trying to provide services and all the other stuff that we would do outside. On top of Tinian, I want everyone to be mindful the stipend also has a high vacancy. So our family advocates, administrative staff, our admin folks are in the classroom subbing. And we've been doing this since August of this year. So the compliance work on the back end for all the regulations under Head Start is kind of sitting and not being addressed because people are in the classroom subbing. Because we have to keep the ratio every day, regardless of the total number of kids. And I'll kind of show you what that looks like on a day. So this is the next slide will show early Head Start. And also on early Head Start, we started off the year with a couple of vacancies and folks on long-term medical. So besides the Head Start population, early Head Start, the good news is early Head Start stabilized when Head Start started to suffer with staffing shortages. The next slide shows the heat map. The reason why we put this heat map was to show the daily staff attendance that included vacancies to show the total amount of administrative support that was going into classrooms almost on a daily. So it should be at a green with 1, but we're seeing them go as high as some days we have up to 11 classrooms that need to be covered. That pretty much shuts down our administrative office. And then all of the monitoring and observations are not happening. Family home visits are also being pushed back.
How is this going to, I know that you talked about retention. Do you anticipate that this will help with recruitment?
This will help with retaining our current staff because it puts that commitment. What was happening is we were getting resignations that were happening immediately, effective immediately, right? And these are for individuals that were going through some stuff, right? So when they give us notice, it gives us time to work with HR. When we don't get the notice and we don't anticipate, then that's when we're struggling to kind of fill those gaps.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but we've had this discussion with our district office as well.
Yes.
Our region office, on the retention incentive and also the training that we need to manage accordingly. And I allowed for Latanya to, what was that the one, was it in Tinian we were going to, or
JMRC.
JRC to, go ahead and explain that part. Doing that so that we can conduct the training.
So what we are doing today is, or what's happening this week and next is we temporarily close two classrooms, which is Tinian Head Start and JMRC. The temporary closure offers limited services to our families. They get grab and go, they get the home packets, we get daily check-ins with our family advocate. And we've also arranged socialization for the kids to come back to be with their peers at least once in each of the week that they're out. Only reason why we did that is because it was very important for us, based on the staff survey, was to train the new staff we were getting. Because what was happening was we were hiring staff, training standard of conduct and putting them in the classroom without doing curriculum training or managing behavior.
Because those people that were supposed to be doing that are busy filling in the slots that are.
So it's kind of like a revolving, most of the years we're able to manage, but this is the year that we're having so much issues and it's showing in different areas, right?
Board also needs to know that before making that, executing that plan on the closure of the two, there was communication with the parents to make sure that they were okay and they understood that that was gonna happen. We needed to do that. The one thing that I really wanted to prevent from happening is the compliance issue. That we've already had, right? And we've already kind of gone through that. And thankfully, we are off the conditions of that non-compliance, right? And so we don't want to kind of go back to region and say we have another issue with that. That's why we need to go ahead and conduct those curriculum training that she's talking about that needs to occur in the classroom.
Let's pause just because we're on limited time.
Yeah.
That way members can ask questions so we can move on. Members, do you have any questions? Yes, Vice.
So this is pertaining to the new business item B, Head Start, early Head Start, retentions and incentive policy and proposals. Before I go through my questions, I want to be clear about the intent behind them. These questions are not meant to oppose the retentions and the incentive policy proposal, nor to discount the work that has gone into it. They are raised to ensure that we clearly understand the problem that we are to resolve and whether the proposal is the most effective and responsible of the public funds. Given the physical constraints we are facing and the fact that similar incentive approaches have been tried in the past, I believe in the importance for the board to step back and closely examine what is driving staff turnover and whether long-term solutions should be considered alongside or before another incentive plan. My questions are meant to bring clarity to that discussion, so our decisions are thoughtful, well-informed, and focused on addressing the underlying issues in a meaningful way. Questions for the record. Before approving another incentive plan, can we confirm what has already been tried? How many times that have incentive payments have been used in recent years? What did each effort cost, and what were the results? What problem are we trying to solve? Retentions, recruitment, or both? Is the challenge that we cannot hire staff or that we cannot keep that once they are hired? An incentive were used before, why are employees still leaving? Do we have clear data, exit interviews, surveys, or HR trends showing the primary reasons for the turnover? What are the root causes of turnover in plain terms? Staff leaving due to pay structure, workload supervisions, scheduling, workplace culture, benefits, training, requirements, lack of advancement, or other factors? Why another incentive instead of addressing those root causes? Is there a reason funds cannot be reprogrammed toward longer-term solutions, or such as pay alignments, staffing support, training, or workplace improvement, instead of another short-term payout? What makes the proposal different prior incentive plans? What has changed that gives confidence this approach that will be more effective? What safeguards are in place to prevent this from becoming a recurring solution? Is this a one-time measure with a clear endpoint, or are we setting a precedent? How will success be measured on what timeline? What benchmarks will be used? Turnover rates, vacancy rates, the length of service, and when will the board receive an evaluation? Given the fiscal climate, what message are we sending? How do we explain to the public that we are reprogramming funds for retentions payouts while staff continue to leave? And why is it the most responsible use of public funds at this time? What I'm asking the board to consider is put action on this term item until we receive written clear guidance from HHS on the allowability of this specific proposal. Require a root cause analysis to accompany an incentive plan, including proposed solutions and timelines. Refrain from approving the proposal until cost, compliance, and expected outcomes are clearly defined and explained. Thank you.
Commissioner? Maybe we can, that was quite a few questions. But I think there's a couple of overall themes that maybe you can address.
Yeah, for instance, and I'll have this on it, but
Thank
for
you, guys.
instance, we've already, articulated what we were gonna reprogram to and, what those are gonna be used for, right? But go ahead, Latonya.
Based on the last or the FPA meeting, there was a recommendation to do a perception survey. There was also a recommendation to reach out to regional office, and we did all of that. So the remainder of the presentation will kind of explain all of that. So we can move to the next slide on this.
Sorry, just to be clear, FPA already approved. Not yet, okay, oh, okay, all right, we'll talk about that.
Madam Chair, if I may,
Yes.
I mean, we just, as far as, the time that is involved here, what I would suggest and table this matter and all board members provide, their impetus questions. I have a lot of questions here that I like to pose to her, but I will give it to her in writing and then she can respond and all of us can look at that. And if need be that we have to call an immediate special board meeting to address this, then let's do that. But right now, just Vice question alone is already tedious for me. I have a whole dozen right now in front of me. So can we go ahead and do that and in meeting next week sometime to move action in it, but we provide our director those questions, which I have substantial questions here that is gonna take the meeting's gonna be over before she even answers anything. Can we do that?
For our city,
Yeah.
both points also, okay. I wrongly assumed I should have checked with member Orsini that this was already vetted by FPA. I'm concerned that it didn't go through FPA yet, especially given the Head Start finding about the board committees meeting and FPA committee meetings, and I want to make sure that is there a deadline is this? Go ahead.
There's confusion here, but go ahead.
Can I make a recommendation? If we're not gonna approve the retention incentive, that we approve the budget revision without the retention incentive.
Okay,
Our budget period is ending really soon. And if we don't move money, we're gonna return money
Is the deadline, who's the deadline director?
before the end of the fiscal year, but it does go through a full approval on the regional side. So even if we make this submission, if the region doesn't approve it, none of it goes. But there are other critical areas in that budget revision that includes the facility updates, the professional development, the supplies and materials that we need to approve.
so thank you. So it's my recommendation, members, that we do approve the
Budget revision
Saying it correctly, the budget revision proposal,
without.
and hold on the, I understand that hold on the implementation of that until the FDA can meet. Post their questions, and then you can provide the answers. I agree with member Orsini, since we've already seen part of your presentation, that members can email in the questions so that you can be prepared. And submit those in writing to FPA so that they can review and, and move it along quicker. Yes.
Can I make a recommendation? Because after the FPA meeting, we did contact our regional office and they did meet with the team. I can schedule a similar meeting with board members on our region if you guys want to clarify the retention incentive policy.
I don't know that that's the issue.
That's not-
Yeah, I don't think that's the issue.
But I think the clarification we got is gonna answer all the questions you have. Why the temporary fix? Is this gonna solve the issue? And those conversations happened with our region, FPO and the HR director during a discussion.
Yeah, but
So
I
it's
think that you can provide those answers to the board. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Chair, again, I ask that we defer this, if need be, I'll call an FPA meeting as soon as possible, early next week, if you like. But I think that the budget that we're about to approve is gonna coincide and possibly conflict with what this incentive is going about. I'm just being clear about this. So right now, I need to hear this more from, the respective department so that we can move further. And then if so be it that there's a need, then we can go for a board, special board meeting. Yeah, I think we're running the gun and I don't think this is right. Let's not rush. We still got time. Time is on our side right now. We just want to make sure that this is clearly identified as to what we're looking at, because I'm a little bit on the loop with some of the things that I have here with the questions I have right now. So I ask that we defer this, Head Start, article right now for the meantime, and we go for an FPA meeting as soon as possible, early next week. And then from there, I'll advise you for a full board meeting, since we have member Torm not here today, so then that will be a proper thing.
Sorry. When does this?
5/31st.
Right, so we still got time, yeah.
So if we can get all the questions by monthly from the board, and then we'll take that, we'll respond to it. Hopefully we get a FPA meeting by Thursday or Friday of next week. We can at least submit the response to those questions to the FPA and also discuss any concerns that the FA may have before going back to the full board.
And we'll,
Hopefully so.
we'll have to identify a new date, for a special emergency meeting anyway. To deal with whatever items we don't, get to today, and then also our FY 27 budget. So, Dr. Mira, did you have, sorry, you had a question earlier.
I did, but I can forward it directly to the.
All right, so members, yes.
So can I get some clarity? I thought what we were doing here was deciding on FPA's recommendations.
We're not on, I was mistaken. Number one was not vetted by FPA or was not sent to FPA. So,
Also, it came before us, before going through FPA?
Went to everybody.
We had an FCA meeting, and the recommendation was to talk to region, which we did, and then come back and then talk to the full board with our recommended plan for the budget revision, and that's what we're doing. Right?
so there was, on February 6th, they did propose this to FPA. Who was there? Okay, Dr. Yunus, do you recall?
Yes, it was brought before FPA. FPA was not satisfied with responses, and so we tasked the commissioner to look more further into Head Start and to see if there were more root issues, as member Garcia mentioned. And so I think that was the attempt with the data here. Yes, but we still have further questions. I think it wasn't, and so it was pushed here to bring that here, but I think it's still not clear enough. We still have further questions, but yes, it was brought to FPA, but it was not fully vetted. Because we still have questions.
So according to staff notes, there was a vote to push it to the full board. So what we can do is just add it on to the next agenda, because clearly there are more questions that members have.
So we'll need an FPA meeting next week for
um,
this.
we probably do this for the budget. But since this item was already put to the full board, it doesn't need to go back. Just email in our questions,
Yeah.
as we already agreed to do. And Director Latanya can provide those answers in writing. And then at the next board meeting, we can discuss it more in depth. Is that okay? Okay. And I'm not sure of the timing, but we'll figure it out. I understand the urgency.
But I just want to include too that this thing of the Head Start is very imperative because of the public law that established the mandatory of kindergarten throughout CNMI. This being is somewhat hampered if we're not in sync with what the Head Start is trying to do at this point. So that's why I said that we need to provide the good director here, the questionnaires, and have her answer so that we can look at that and then come up for the next board meeting to make a decision. Okay?
Yes.
I'm just being careful here, guys. Let's not jump the gun and we're not looking at thoroughly as far as what we should do.
Okay, understood. And then just also recognition, right, that there's a large sum of money that we need to deal with. So hopefully, members, you can be available. Have your questions in to Director Latanya by Monday as requested, and then we'll go from there. Thank you, Director.
Chair,
Yes.
however, I think we wanted a motion to approve the budget revision excluding the fringe benefits for now. Is that?
I think I was suggesting that, but member Orsini disagreed.
Oh, I see. So not even
Not even,
the
it
supplies.
ties in together. Both items are in line with each other. So we need to be careful with that.
Okay.
I'd like to note though, for the record, Chair, I'm in favor of Director Latanya's proposal to go ahead and approve and then any necessary amendments. I just wanted to note for the record, no.
I agree to that. I'm also in favor of the acceptance. But one thing I was wondering is like you mentioned about, I'll ask my question. I do have one question, but I will submit it to you via email. So we can move on. But I.
Sorry, Chair, no, to further clarify, yes, I've been supportive of the incentive, noting that it still needs to be vetted.
Yes.
But what I'm saying I'm in support of is earlier recommendation to go ahead and approve revised budget for Head Start, and then make the necessary adjustments following FPA's review. But being that we're pushing it again, I just wanted to note for the record. Thank you, Director.
All right, let's move on to. I'm sorry, let's back up just real quick to public comments. I apologize. I want to make sure that we open the floor for public comments. I apologize to those online or anyone in the room that would like to make public comments. Manager, I don't know if you want to.
Pursuant to BOE policy 0415, public comments are limited to 30 minutes. We ask that remarks be limited to 3 minutes. Everyone is welcome to submit written comments.
So I can see. Is there anyone? Like on the discuss distribution of the community. Okay. All right, I don't see anybody online or in the room requesting to make public comments, so we can move on. Ms. Mergen. Let's move on to new business, the new item number 2, which is CLO report 2026-19-01. Ms. Blanc.
Good morning, everyone. I have here CLO report 2026-19-01 with 13 recommended candidates for certification. Basic 1, we have 4, basic 2, 4, standard 1, professional 2, instructor 1, 2. I would also like to add a reminder that although we have a certification salary freeze in place, all instructors, teachers, librarians, school counselors, and school administrators must continue to hold a valid educator certificate throughout the entirety of their employment with PSS. I've been getting some questions on like, why do you have report or why do you say certification if there's a salary place? I just want to make sure that everyone knows that they still have to have a valid certificate.
Thank you for that reminder. All right, members, any questions about the CLO report?
I thought we were gonna get handouts,
Or you want the,
like usual.
Numbers?
you want it and.
Yeah. Handouts? Maybe we can print out,
Oh, like the report?
yeah,
So you wanted to.
can I just take a look at your? Yeah.
Member Kuta is reviewing any other questions, others about the CLO report?
Like the motion to approve the CLO report as presented.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion?
Discussion, Chair, not so much as related specifically to this report, but I wanted to ask Commissioner for through HRO, if we can get the latest pay scale for all of our employees. I've also been fielding questions about what's the correct and current pay scale for all of the employees. Is that something that can be provided to us today?
Thank you. There's a motion to approve CLO report number 2026-19-01, and it's been seconded. Ms. Manager.
Anthony Delacruz Orsinas,
Yes.
Ashmar Kota Pogumro Oludong,
Yes.
Andrew L. Orsini,
Okay.
Macy Bates Moore.
Yes.
Chair all voted yes.
Okay, thank you, members. Let's move down to the next item, new business number 3, which is board resolutions.
If I may, Chair.
Yeah, I have to be well, it's that.
I see. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
I have to excuse myself, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you, member Todev. Member Todev is has to leave. So this means that we no longer have a quorum. Members,
I'd like to move for recess and a continuance of a scheduled meeting again to follow through for this meeting.
okay, there's a motion to recess. Is there a second? Oh, no, we cannot.
Second.
Can you, just 1 second, 1 minute, please. Okay. You seconded? Okay, discussion. If we recess, will we be able to add, one things that I'm concerned about is the FY 27 budget. So my recommendation will to adjourn, that way we can make sure to add that. Would that be okay with everyone?
And all those items that we haven't addressed,
Yes.
address in that next meeting.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, because we've been holding these items off for multiple meetings now, so, all right. Can you withdraw your motion, member Orsini, to recess? Okay, thank you. There's a move to adjourn. Okay, all those in favor of adjourning today's meeting, please say aye. Any opposed? All right, today's meeting is adjourned. It is 9:49 a.m. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Commissioner. Do you have an estimate date or the